should quit trying. You were too small, that you were too young. They tell you the chance is too slim, the world is too big, but you say how come? I'm ready to light a new fire, raise a new flag across a new sea. And if I'm ever the one in your way, then put your head down and run right through me. So why keep settling for so much less? Don't take what's given, just demand what's there. We're looking for an open door.
Okay. Testing. All right, cool. Things should be working. All right, my internet was having a little bit of an issue when I first tried to start streaming, so my stream wouldn't start. But we're up and running now. So, good win tonight. Overall, good win tonight by the Bulls. I'm happy to say that they don't look, horrible, at least in this game. Some stuff that still needs to get worked out, unfortunately, but overall, some pretty good stuff. We're going to focus on the positives a lot tonight. Sorry, I'm fixing my camera settings. And not really a lot to be complaining about. I thought the defense tonight actually was really good. And the Bulls now are 4-6. So, honest to me, I would be honest. I think the Bulls should be 5-5. They should have won at least one of the first Pistons games or the Brooklyn Nets game that they lost. But I think that hopefully this team can take this game and start moving forward with this sort of formula. But we'll see. We know how inconsistent this team is, and it's not just from a game-to-game basis. It's literally from like a minute-to-minute basis, where they look fine at 1 minute, and then the next minute they're just like, "What is happening?" But some good things that I do want to point out. And it's not just box score stuff. We're going to be going through some plays that I want to highlight that I was like, okay, hey, we can work with this moving forward. But there's also some stuff that I am going to highlight in terms of spacing, where I thought the Bulls spacing wasn't the best. And there was one defensive rotation that even Stacey King highlighted. And I'm like confused by what he was trying to talk about in his breakdown of it all. Oh my god. Alright, my glasses are so just dirty right now. I'm trying to clean them and I can't. The play he broke down at the end, it was like he was saying like, okay, the Bulls didn't help Vooch in the rotation, but we'll talk about that in a little bit here as well. But biggest thing to me tonight, okay? Cade Cunningham did not have a good game whatsoever. And this to me at least seems like what Billy Donovan is going to be kind of running with moving forward, okay? Where he is basically going to be trying to cut off the head of the snake, okay? This is something that like Thibodeau used to always do as well, where he goes after the stars, right? He doesn't go after like the other players in a sense. Like he goes after the guys that kind of lead the charge. And tonight, this was fantastic stuff in my opinion, what the Bulls did against Cade Cunningham. And I want to point to a possession with Ayo Dosunmu guarding him, where I was like, wow, like this is really good stuff from the Bulls overall. Besides that first quarter, I thought the Bulls defense looked fine. Nothing really to be complaining about. And maybe it is because the Pistons don't shoot a lot of threes that it looks all right, but it was so just astounding to me how this Bulls team, in terms of just overall like initial defense, and I'm not talking about second chance points here, but just like the initial defensive sets for the Bulls, they look really solid. But it's giving up the offensive rebound. It's then obviously if the offense is running and they're running out in transition, their defense obviously suffers. But yet again, I'm looking at this team's defense, and I know the numbers haven't really like said anything so far because it is 10 games. So I'm not going to be like reading into the numbers too much just yet, but this team yet again is just like, it overall is like telling me, hey, maybe defensively we're going to be all right. This offense still has to figure itself out, and I think tonight's a good starting point, especially as the Bulls are going to play two teams that don't really shoot the three ball in a little bit here after they pass the Milwaukee game. Because when we face the Magic and the Heat, these are two teams that struggle from the 3-point line as well. And I think those are very winnable games for this Bulls team. Bulls right now, they're 22nd in terms of defensive rating. I just expect this just to get better. This is kind of similar how the Bulls started last season in terms of defensive rating, where they sucked early on. Through like the first 20 games, they just absolutely sucked. And obviously, as the season went on, they were really, really good. So I'm going to expect that to continue to just get better. There are some teams down here like the LA Lakers and the Bucks. Obviously, I expect those teams to get better defensively too. But yet again, I'm just like, this is one of those games where I was concerned that this Bulls team offensively was not going to get enough or do enough. But the defense was going to do enough, right? Like, I mean, this is pretty solid overall defensively. I mean, mind the first quarter, right? Forget the first quarter, but defensively, I thought this team was really doing everything right, and I was starting to get really concerned, like, oh no, the offense is going to struggle and not going to close this one out, but they did. So, really solid stuff from the defense, basically from the second quarter on, in my opinion. 4 blocks for Debo. Well, did not expect that. I did not expect that either. That's a career high for DeMar DeRozan in blocks in a game is 4, and so we got it tonight from him. There might be one where it wasn't really, like, it was kind of iffy on the block, but we'll give it to him. We'll give him the block. So not much to worry about there. But yeah, I appreciate DeRozan doing work, and it was mostly actually on ball for him. I think it wasn't really like the help defense. It was mostly the on ball defense that he was doing a really solid job with in this game for the blocks. Now, unfortunately, we do not have the plays put into the system yet, so I'm gonna have to wait on some of the film. Actually, you know what? Okay, you know, let's talk about some of the stats first, and then I'm gonna pull up my YouTube TV after that. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, this to me is better overall from the shot chart from the Bulls tonight. Okay, so the Bulls only took 33s, so I'll open this up for everybody just to look at. Okay, as you can see, the Bulls only took 33s. Okay, and I've talked about on this channel that, okay, if you're going to be a team that's only going to be taking 33s a night, which to me, that's acceptable, all right, because, you know, even the teams that don't rely on the 3-point shot, they still take 33s a night, okay? So if you're going to be taking 33s a night, that's acceptable, but then you really have to be dominating the paint and the free throw line, right? Tonight, what do the Bulls do, okay? The overall shot chart looks a lot better tonight, right? Less mid-range shots than normal. There's still a decent chunk, right? But this is less than what we've seen from this Bulls team, right? And you see all these shots in the paint, and then obviously the 3-point shots. But add on top of that, they took 91 shots tonight, but they also took 25 free throws, okay? So the formula for this Bulls squad moving forward, if they're not going to be shooting threes, right, they have to be going to the free throw line 25 or shooting 25 plus free throws in that, which they did tonight, right? And then the other thing that I've talked about is that they have to I'm lost. In terms of points in the paint, they have to get 50 plus points in the paint. Ideally, you're getting closer to 55, right? Points in the paint, and the Bulls got 52. Okay, so only 11 threes made, 33s attempted. They put up 119 points. 119 points, that's acceptable, right? That's a very acceptable number in today's NBA, especially if you have a pretty solid defense. So if the Bulls are truly about changing their shot chart, then tonight's it's pretty good overall. They didn't shoot more threes in a sense, right? But they got to the paint more, they got to the free throw line more, right? And they limited their mid-range. That's what's going to take. So I hope moving forward that if this team is really not going to buy into the 3-point line, then this is what we have to see. I've said this after the Indiana Pacers game too, where the Bulls won against the Indiana Pacers, right? I said after that game, because the Bulls only took 13 threes in that game, but they had 60 points in the paint, and they got to the free throw line, I think, like 28 times or something in that game, right? Like, hey, that's the formula of like the Lakers, right? Or in the case the Denver Nuggets, in a sense, or some of the other teams that don't really rely on the 3-point shot. But I need to then see this every single night. I need to see this. If you're gonna not buy into the 3, then you gotta be getting to the paint and getting to the free throw line a ton. This Bulls team so far, let's actually look at this, right? So NBA points in the paint. Okay, let's actually look into this. So this Bulls team right now, okay, they're down here. They're They're down at 22nd in the league, which is basically where they kind of landed last year. They were 19th last year, and they're averaging about 47 points in the paint. Okay, as you can see, there are a lot of other teams here, like the Lakers, for example, Denver Nuggets, right? These are teams that don't really rely on the three-point shot, but they are dominating the paint. Like, they are straight up just dominating the paint. So I've talked about this, that if the Bulls are going to continue to play like this, then I need to see that paint number go up. And they have to get up here into, you know, the top half of the league for this to be acceptable. So tonight's a good start again. So now I'm going to see moving forward, because this team is clearly not buying into the three-point shot. They're just straight up not. I still see guys basically turning down threes just for drive still, and this includes Levine, this includes Kobe White, this includes Javon Carter. So if they're not going to rely on the three, that's fine, but I need to see more paint points and get to the free throw line 25 times plus per game. So it's got to be it's a serious work in progress from this team, but it has to be better. And tonight's pretty all right, but we'll see how they continue doing moving forward. Going on, Delbert. Hey, what's up? Well, Bulls win, always a good day. It is a good day for the Bulls to win, yeah. And we got another one tomorrow. Oh my god, bro. So yeah, I do agree that I am concerned about tomorrow. Oh, sorry, I just put my mic away. Tomorrow I'm definitely concerned. The Bulls are be playing the Milwaukee Bucks tomorrow, and that is going to be a major test. The Bucks have had some moments of struggling, and Damian Lillard was out the last two games. So it seems like Lillard is going to be playing tomorrow. According to the injury report, he is probable for tomorrow. So I am expecting him to play tomorrow. But tomorrow I think it's just going to be an absolute struggle bus. I don't expect the Bulls to win that game, but then it's after that we're playing 2 against Orlando and 2 against Miami. Now Miami has gotten on track since their 1-4 start, so they're now 5-4. And I don't know if they played it tonight or not, but Miami, they're back to being okay. So we'll see how that goes. But these are two teams, like I said, that they don't really shoot the three amazing. So in terms of 3-point attempts per game, okay, let's just look at this, right? Miami is down here, and Orlando is actually below the Bulls in terms of 3-point attempts per game. Okay, so we're not going to be getting killed from the 3-point line when we face these two Florida teams coming up here. So those are like 4 games in a row. They're all at home that I think the Bulls need to win at least 3 of the 4, and then we can start talking about this Bulls team getting back on track. Because like I said, I think they should at least be 500 right now. But they're 4-6. So good starting point. I'm expecting a loss tomorrow, but still play hard, because you might be able to steal one tomorrow. And after that, like I said, they got to win 3 out of the 4 of those Florida games, because they're at home at the United Center. There is a back-to-back, unfortunately, so maybe that first Miami game is not going to be the greatest, but that's got to be time for the Bulls to start get going here. I'm so disappointed they struggle with this mediocre team. The fact that this team is so easy to blow out, and they were neck and neck with the Bulls the whole time. I wouldn't say that the Pistons are easy to blow out. They've had some actually really solid games that they've just lost, unfortunately. But I think the biggest thing tonight, at least for me, is that they won. Because obviously we saw last time in Detroit that they lost. So I'm going to take any little step forward as possible, like just to see that this Bulls team actually took care of business tonight. That's a good overall thing, because if they didn't win this one, then I think we're gonna have an absolute riot in Chicago if they didn't win this game, because this was a game they had to win. So I'll take it, honestly. Oh, interesting. Looks like the ad block is working again, so I appreciate that. Do you think that Kobe's assists will continue at this rate, or is this just because he simply played the Pistons? So I don't know what it is. I tweeted this out after the game tonight. Kobe White, when it comes to playing at home, he looks just so much better. Like, I don't know what it is, and this includes his assists. Like, I don't get it with him. Obviously the Bulls are not going to be playing at home tomorrow, but they're going to be like basically, you know, not like an hour away. But let's just look at his splits, because it's so weird to look at for Kobe. So when you look at home, right? It's not even just points per game, right? His assist numbers are also just higher, right? He averages 5.5 assists at home and 3.3 assists on the road, and obviously he turns the ball over more on the road, and he's averaging more points. So I honestly think that with Kobe, if he's playing at home, I think his assist numbers are going to be like this every single time. But when he's playing on the road right now, I don't know what the hell is happening with him. He looks lost. So I'm just gonna say that if he's at home, then he's gonna get these assists and it's gonna continue, and he's gonna be able to continue to get Vooch the ball and get spots and get guys involved pretty well. But if he's on the road, I don't know what I'm gonna get from him, unfortunately. And I'm expecting basically the worst from Kobe. So that's kind of just like it's like a 50-50, honestly. Basically, I'm saying, do you think tonight was a sign of consistent things to come for Kobe in terms of high assist numbers, or do you just have a good game against the terrible Pistons? Like I said, if he's playing at home, I don't care who the team is, he's gonna get the assists. If he's playing on the road, he's not gonna get it. So just expect this sort of performance from Kobe at home. I don't know what to tell you, unfortunately, about him on the road. It just seems like with him on the road, he just doesn't look right. And he's also taking less shots on the road too, probably because he's struggling. So I don't know. We'll see what he does moving forward. But yeah, I think honestly, like when he's at home, he can get these assist numbers every single time, and we've seen it from him. So I truly hope that he could figure out what his struggles are on the road, so that we don't have to be talking about this. It is only 10 games in. He's played 6 games at home and 4 on the road. So, you know, it is a small sample size, but I think moving forward, you know, if this continues to be a trend with Kobe, then we'll see. We'll have to have some talks, because then do you then bench him when it comes to road games? Like, I don't think that's a good idea in a sense, but maybe you don't really play him down the stretch like he was in the closing lineup tonight if he's struggling that much on the road. So yeah, interesting stuff to look at. One thing that I'm going to talk about, or okay, I'll address multiple things. This right here continues to be a problem for this Bulls team. I don't know what it is right now about this Bulls squad, but the rebounding is continuing to be an issue. I think this assist numbers, these are fine. Obviously, the steals were really good for the Bulls tonight, and that's been actually pretty solid for the Bulls all season. This turnover stuff, like, I don't think the Bulls have turned the ball over really throughout the season. So this is another good sign, right? This is the part that I'm having some big issues with, because this is now like or it's obviously this and then it's this. The Bulls right now, in terms of defensive rebounding, Casey Johnson mentioned it on the broadcast. They're ranked 28th in terms of defensive rebounding, so it's not good. And I talked about at the beginning of the stream that I think this Bulls team defensively, they look fine. Like, they look all right for at least most of the time, right? I mean, we've obviously seen some struggles early in the season, but in the game like this, if the Bulls cut down the second chance points to half for what the Pistons got tonight, let's just say they only got 12, right? The Bulls, like, they keep the Pistons to under 100 points and they win this game convincingly. So it honestly is just, it's frustrating to see that this Bulls team is giving up so many offensive rebounds. When I think last season for the Bulls, they actually looked really solid in terms of the rebounding, defensive rebounding. Like, I think they were 5th overall, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna actually double check this, but like, they were doing a fantastic job in terms of defensive glass, that they just were not giving up any offensive rebounds really last season. They were 9th, so I guess it's a little bit worse than I thought. Go to advanced here, because I don't know why this is such an issue all of a sudden. But the defensive rebounding percentage, though, for the Bulls, like, I mean, they were. Am I in the right? No, this is not 2020. This is not last season. This is this season. Sorry, NBA.com is breaking. There we go. No, what? Okay, so this is last season stats. The Bulls, they were 3rd best in terms of defensive rebounding percentage, right? So that basically means out of all chances to get the defensive rebound, they were literally 3rd best in the league, right? So I don't know why suddenly this season they've just sucked. I mean, where are the Bulls? The Bulls they're down here in 21st this season so far. Obviously, we're not including this current game, so this number might have gotten worse after this game. So this is something that needs to change, because this, like I said, this Bulls team, in terms of the regular, just overall defense and initial defense, they look fine, but they're not getting the defensive rebound. Therefore, I mean, we're last right now, actually. There's a defensive rebounds per game. Like, we're last. Yeah, this is actually worse than I thought it was. So, yeah, they got to figure this out. This is just has to be better for this Bulls team. And I don't know what it's going to take. Like, it's not, to me, it's not just like, oh, the guards need to come in and help rebound, because there are times right now that I think like, literally all 5 are coming in and get the rebound, right? Like, I know that like Zach, for example, he has a tendency not to come in and rebound, right? He's always like trying to leak out, and you know that's part of why the Bulls are trying to like play faster. But there are possessions right now for the Bulls where I see all 5 guys come in and defensive rebound, and they still lose the rebound because they're just straight up small. They're just too small. And of course, Billy Donovan is running the smallest lineup at the end of a game right now because he's putting in Caruso over Craig, right, to end the game. And that's literally the Bulls' smallest lineup, right? It's just Vooch on the floor to be like your main rebounder, and Donovan's just kind of basically saying to the other guys, like, we're playing Vooch with like 4 guards out there. So I don't know, man. I truly don't know what it's going to take from this Bulls team to figure this out, but it has to be better in terms of their defensive rebounding. And I've also talked about this a little bit, I think, on stream, because let's look at this, okay? When excuse me. So the Bulls are the red, okay? The Bulls are red, the opposing team's black in this sort of scenario, okay? So I've talked about how there needs to be like a whole thing of like where guys need to come into specifically for the rebound, because one of the things that we're seeing a lot of is obviously if like a team launches a 3-point shot, right, and then the rebound's like out here, right? So maybe it's like a position thing for everybody, because obviously, you know, your main center needs to be in on the rebound unless he's contesting a 3-point shot, right? And guys, like, it's not necessarily always about boxing out. There are some times where there just needs to be a guy where you face guard him, right? So, like, instead of you trying to do the whole box out motion, you basically just face guard him and saying, like, if I'm not going to get the rebound, then you're not going to get the rebound either, right? So maybe that's what they need to start doing, and like maybe there needs to be like a dedicated guy, like maybe it's DeRozan or somebody like this, like that just has a dedicated job just to be like find their man and basically just be like, okay, if I'm not gonna get the rebound, then you're not gonna get the rebound, okay? So there's that idea, maybe that needs to come in, but I also just think there needs to just be better positioning overall, because for example, like maybe Kobe and maybe it's Zach, like they just need. There needs to be like someone. Oh, sorry. There always needs to be someone like in this sort of area, because if there's a long shot that goes out, right, then they have to come over and get this rebound quick. So maybe that's what needs to happen too. Yeah, but in the end, it's still just you're small, and I think we're finally starting to see teams are starting to abuse this now, because I think last season maybe they just didn't understand it, or the Bulls were just, you know, too slow of a team that didn't matter. But now that, you know, the Bulls are playing faster, they're running smaller lineups out there, maybe it's now really starting to come to hurt them. So if that's the case, right, then I think positioning is the most important thing to this team moving forward, and hopefully they can figure it out in terms of their defensive rebounding issues. Because here's the other part about it that I don't think people really understand. If you look at the overall advanced numbers in terms of rebounding, Drummond is one of the best. Like, Drummond himself is like one of the best rebounders in the game, even when it comes off the bench, okay? He is flat out like one of the best rebounders, if not the best rebounder in the game right now. However, when it comes to Vucevic, he's not that good of a rebounder. Everyone talks about him being a double-double machine, and I'm like, yeah, great, but I actually think a lot of other people are double-double machines that don't score as much as him. But he's getting just a lot of rebounds just because he's the biggest guy on the floor for this Bulls squad. He is, like, in terms of overall like advanced numbers for the rebounding, he is not very good in terms of his overall rebounding skill. And I don't think it's necessarily that he's not trying. It's just that it seems like guys just get better positioned than him sometimes. So I don't know honestly, and maybe he also needs to do better. I know it sounds weird because it's like, well, Vooch got 12, and I see then Torrey Craig got 10, and then the next person is Zach with 3 besides Drummond, right? So it's like, is this really Vooch's fault? But I think it's more so just that he's just not the best rebounder. So I don't think it's necessarily his fault, but that means then the other guys have to work, you know, harder because the center isn't necessarily like that great of a rebounder. So something to just keep in mind, I guess, for this Bulls team is that I've always said that Vooch isn't the best rebounder at the center position. I think we've seen better, obviously, in terms of rebounders at the center position. So that means the others got to do better. Everyone else has just straight up has to do better in terms of their rebounding skills, and hopefully we see it. So that's that. I think that's enough of the box score, though, and hopefully now, please, yes, no, dang it, they don't have it in. Okay. Maybe they have the first quarter in. Still loading, so maybe they do. Okay, I'm just gonna pull up YouTube TV because I'm not gonna wait around for NBA.com to upload everything, and I just want to show you guys some of the stuff that I was like really impressed with in terms of the defense, and specifically with Io. I think the biggest contributor to me tonight was Io. Alex Caruso did not play in this game, and Alex Caruso has been the best player for this Bulls team so far this season in terms of overall net rating. And we all know why. I mean, this dude is literally like the best perimeter defender in the league. And I honestly think that, I mean, you guys have said it, that if he plays enough games, he is in the conversation for the Defensive Player of the Year award. And he absolutely would deserve it. The problem is, like what we see tonight, right, is that his health is just something that's always in question, unfortunately. And I'm seeing them dropping frames, so I don't know how long this is. Oh god, wow. Okay, I think I just stabilized. Okay, hi. Sorry about that. I just oh no, never mind. I am dropping frames again. Okay, I think it's stabilized now. Sorry about the drop frames, guys. So you should. Oh my god, it's really right when I talk, things just go to crap. Wow. Let me stop the music. Maybe that's gonna fix things. I didn't want to do. Sorry, hold on. I'm fixing changing a wire. Sorry, I have to hide my screen for this. Just give me a sec. Okay. Nope. Nope. It's still just jumping around. Oh my god, man. Okay, if you're in chat right now, I know there's some viewers in chat right now. If you're in chat right now, can you just give me a thumbs up if you can at least hear me? I know that the video quality is crap right now, but if you're in chat right now, if you could hear me, just give me a thumbs up emoji. All right, thank you, Caper. Sorry, I'm constantly dropping frames. I'm watching my frame rate, and it is just constantly saying drop frames, and I had an issue with the internet before I started stream, and that's why I couldn't start stream immediately. And now it's just it's not doing well right now. Hmm. Okay, I have another idea. We're gonna roll with this for a little bit. I know you can't see anything, but I am trying to do another idea. And I just want to see how it works. And then hopefully I can get like. So I've been streaming for 30 minutes already. All right, I know you guys can still hear me, so that's the reason I'm still talking. With this, I'm hoping just to at least get like a. Okay, sorry, I should be back now. Hi. Sorry, I forgot that everything just died for a second, so that's my bad. Okay, I should be stable now. Okay. Back to this now. Okay. Alright. I just switched over to my mobile hotspot from my phone. I can't do this for a long time because unfortunately I have only a limited amount of usage on this, but it is for some reason just better than my home internet for now. So I'm just gonna do basically what I'm hoping to do, because I've already streamed for about 30 minutes. I just want to get like an hour-ish stream in, just to be like an alright stream. It's not gonna be what I want, unfortunately. I want to do more, but this should be at least decent enough for now. And then at about an hour I'll call it. But I want to show you a few things in terms of overall just like breakdown from film that I really enjoyed watching tonight. So yeah, okay. So Caper, I know you're here. Does the quality on the video for the stream look better right now? If it does, can you just like give a thumbs up for me? Yeah, a bit better now? Okay, good. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll just roll with this for a little bit. Alright. So, I need to skip to about 142-ish. No, a little bit before that, actually. So, let's talk about this, because this was or actually no, let's do the play before that, right? So it's this, and I think Vooch makes this. Yeah, okay. So Vooch makes that shot. Now, oh my god, come on, really? Just restarted for whatever reason. Sorry. This is the whole foul that happened. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get all the way back to the start of this possession. Yeah, okay, this is what I want. Okay, so let's watch this one more time where Vooch makes the jump shot. Okay. Now let's watch this possession overall on the other end here. If this doesn't restart. I don't know why it's restarting. Why is this happening? Sorry, hold on. Hiding screen again. Sorry. Alright, we're just gonna reload everything. Sorry, I'm really frustrated with how tonight's going. This is not what I want. Really not what I want. Okay. So actually, this wasn't it exactly, but we'll just move on from that. Hold on. I thought it was 142, but I had that number wrong in my head. Maybe play-by-play stuff isn't now. It was 246. Okay, so this shot happens. Don't worry about this shot. Honestly, I actually thought it was a good possession overall by the Bulls, but we'll move on from it. Let's watch this because I want you guys to just to focus on Io here because I think Io DeSumo tonight. Obviously, on the offensive end, his numbers say the whole story because he was really good on offense, and obviously he's had like a smaller role so far this season. But Caruso's out tonight, so we need people to step up with Caruso being out, specifically in the defensive end. And he was kind of guarding everybody, but you just kind of see him tonight where he is just on top of people. So he right here is on Kevin Knox, right? And there's like this little slip, kind of, brush screen by Isaiah Stewart. He just stays on Kevin Knox, and he just straight up is like, no, you're not getting anywhere. You're not turning the corner, right? Then he switches off of Kevin Knox because this is a little handoff play. So now Levine takes Kevin Knox. Now he is guarding Cade Cunningham, okay? And he gets through this screen after, right? This is a really solid job of Io just to get through this and then recover quickly on this play overall. And he does a really good job of then forcing Cade Cunningham to go baseline into where Vucevic is going to be standing, and then Vuce has to do the rest here, obviously. And he makes Cade Cunningham have miss the shot. And unfortunately, then I think Kobe's called for this foul for whatever reason. I don't know why. Kobe, I thought tonight, even though he fouled out tonight, I had no idea why Kobe was getting called for some fouls, because this to me looked like a phantom foul. This is not a foul on Kobe. But Io on that one play, I was watching him and I was like, okay, great job of Kevin Knox. Obviously, he made Kevin Knox give up the ball, and then he made Cade Cunningham have to go take the screen. One of the biggest things with how the Bulls play their defense, it is basically drop coverage. Billy Donovan will say otherwise, but one thing that you cannot do, if you're Io, So, again, one more time. This is just the previous offensive possession. Sorry about this. I hate having to do it, but it is what it is. But the biggest thing that Io has to do, and obviously Cade Cunningham's a big talent, right? And he struggled tonight, and I was part of the reason why. But when we're at this point right here, the biggest thing that Io has to do is that he needs to make sure that Cade Cunningham goes this way, because Vucevic is your help, right? The last thing that Io should be doing is letting Cade Cunningham reject the screen, right, and have him go this way, because this then opens up Cade Cunningham to basically the paint, right? And you don't want Cade Cunningham to be able to get into the paint so easily, and then you have the only rim protection you have, who I guess was a pretty good rim protector tonight, is DeMar DeRozan, right? But overall, though, that's not the best idea, because DeMar obviously is not a better rim protector than Vooch. Even though Vooch is not the greatest rim protector, he's still a pretty good positional defender. So having Io do this so well, where then he forces Cade to go basically right into Vooch, and then Vooch has to do the rest, right? This is really solid from him, right? And this is everything you want to see from Io on a defensive end. I loved what I saw from him tonight. Now, this next play, I want to talk about where the Bulls had sort of a breakdown on the defensive end, because there was no help rotation for Vooch's man. Now, I could make the argument that Vooch should recover quicker, but I'm not gonna be like that. So it's this possession, okay? So yet again, I think Io does a good job, right? He makes sure that Cade Cunningham goes this way off the Isaiah Stewart screen, right? And he forces him into Vucevic. Now, the thing is like, this to me is all fine, right? Like, everything is correct here. Now, what Stacey King said is that, and Vooch yelled at Zach after this, and Stacey King said that Zach needs to move down here. Sorry, I'm gonna change my arrow. He said that Zach needs to move down here, and he's supposed to help out Vooch, because you're gonna see Isaiah Stewart move over here. But to me, honestly, when I look at this, to me, the help defense this time is DeMar DeRozan, and he's where he's supposed to be right now, right? And the reason why I say that is because DeMar's supposed to be helping out, and then Zach's supposed to be able to help on these two guys, right? Wherever the ball goes, whether it's to the corner or it's out to Kevin Knox, right? This is Thompson, right? Whichever way the ball goes, Zach's the first rotate over, okay? He's not supposed to be the rotate in here. And Vooch yelled at Zach here. Stacey King said this is on Zach, but you see DeRozan's here, right? Like, this is right by DeRozan, okay? But then watch this, okay? DeRozan then decides he's going to go back to his man, right? Which is not what he's supposed to do, because Zach's supposed to just cover both these guys, right? And then this guy's wide open. So DeRozan was here initially, but then he moved out of the way. I don't know. So personally, at least with the way I look at it, is that this was on DeRozan. This wasn't on Zach. Now, I'm not saying that Zach, in terms of defensive rotations or weak side rotations, has been good this season. He's been awful this season. But I feel like people forget that DeRozan also has not been good this season. He has looked awful in terms of his defensive rotations this year. So that's something that I think we'll have to just be paying attention to, because then you saw that Vooch yelled at Zach. I just think that's on DeRozan. But I guess we're just not going to blame him. And obviously DeRozan had a really good game tonight, so we won't blame DeRozan too much on that one overall. Now, I want to show you one more thing of Io. Not this one. Actually, we'll look at. No, we're not. We'll go on. I think it was first quarter, actually, where Monty Williams called a timeout right after. Yeah, it was this one early on, because he was so upset about this one. He called a timeout because he thought Io carried. But this to me is something that I think that with Io, and Io's one of those players that I do really like. I made like a whole Twitter thing about him last season, because I thought he was gonna have a big year last year, but he ended up not having that great of a year, right? And it didn't really work out too well for Io last season. But Io has always just been one of those players that I really love watching. And let's watch this play here, because this is something that I think last year Io was not going to be able to succeed at. Okay, this is like really solid stuff from what I see here from Io. So this is a play where we see a lot right now. So ball handler's up here, right? And you see the double screen come on over, right? And so you're gonna see Io go this way off the pick and roll. And Io last season, when he got to the rim, right? When Io got to the rim last season, he is like one of the best finishers at the rim for a guard. Okay, especially at his size, he's very good at finishing at the rim. The problem was that he couldn't get to the rim. Okay, and you see here that he does a really good job of just navigating the defense. So last season, right, he might have just like pulled up here for a mid-range shot, which is not ideal, right? Io finishes like when he's at the rim and he's finishing at the rim, he shoots about like 64% for a guard at his size. That's really solid, right? So you ideally want him to just get to the rim here. And we see here that he does a good job of keeping the dribble alive and managing his way to the basket. He uses the roll by Drummond to help get space, and able to then use Drummond as another back screen, right, and get a layup out of it. This is great from Io, and this is something that I think is a growth step from him, because his rookie year, right, I think it was a lot that like teams just were caught off guard by him, because they just didn't expect him to have pretty decent handles and the ability to actually finish, right? And so he was able to get to the rim pretty easily through his first 20-ish games, because no one knew what he could really do. Then the scouting report came out, and things were a little bit harder still, but it just was like he was just on like a run, and then he kind of fell off near the end, right? Last season, you could tell that everyone knew the scouting report on him, and he was kind of struggling. So then obviously this season he's got the new contract and everything, and he's in unfortunately a lesser role, but this is great from him. This to me is fantastic from what I've seen from last season. This right here is growth from Io, and I hope he continues to do this, because it's not about his finishing, right? Like we talked about on this channel a lot about how Patrick Williams and his finishing is suspect, right? Because whenever Pat does get to the rim, he doesn't finish. Like he's just straight up, he won't finish the basket, right? With Io, it's not about that. When Io gets to the rim, he finishes, but it's the fact that he's had problems actually getting to the basket. That's been the question mark for Io, and tonight we just saw him. He was just able to get there, and there was no issue whatsoever with him getting to the basket. So this is just a good step forward to see, and the Bulls are going to need it, because with Alex Caruso, like I said, I don't trust that he's going to be able to stay healthy for 60 plus games. Okay, I think the most games he plays is probably going to be 60. Anything past that is fantastic. Now, Alex last season, I think he played more than 60 games, if I'm not mistaken, right? But either way, though, if Alex is not playing however many games it is, right? We need people to step up, and obviously getting Javon Carter helps, but Io's also going to step up and play more minutes than he's already getting so far this season. So Io's in the closing lineup tonight. I mean, I think some people would argue that maybe Craig should have closed, or even Carter should have been in the closing line, because Carter's been playing well overall this season, but Billy ran with Io. So I think that just kind of shows how much trust that Billy does have in Io. If the opportunity presents itself where he is closing, and he was the main guy off the bench with 26 plus minutes, and he was plus 19 with 13 points, right? So overall, just like really good stuff from him tonight, and I think that Io needs more minutes moving forward. I don't exactly know how he gets those minutes, but to me, the person that needs to kind of get their minutes cut a little bit is maybe this guy. Unfortunately, you guys can't see that. This guy, I hate saying it, but it kind of is what it is at this point. So maybe that's where more minutes come from, but unfortunately that means you play small more. So I'm going to take that, unfortunately, at this point, because Io has shown that he can play still. Yeah, Io stepped up big time tonight. Yeah, Io was killing. Good work on Drummond, helping him get to the rim too. Yeah, and you're absolutely right, Viper Strike. Like that Drummond, obviously, putting that extra little screen on, right, that's very big by Drummond. But it's also then important for Io to understand how to use that correctly, because how many times have we talked about with this team that the spacing is terrible? Like, the biggest thing I was really happy with when I saw this was that he recognized, okay, Drummond's running down this way, right? So I can then fill this gap, because Drummond's going to be constantly going towards the rim still, so he can then take up that space. And so he recognizes it, goes to it, right? And then he uses, then Drummond obviously does the extra screen, right? And gets a Wiseman out of the play. Because what Io could have easily have done is just run right into Wiseman. And then, that's a much more difficult shot to get off, because that is a much bigger dude and a pretty decent rim protector in James Wiseman. So, yeah, overall, just like, it's good recognition by both players, and obviously Drummond doing more of the dirty work, right? Because he has to then come in and make sure Wiseman isn't able to block his shot whatsoever. Yeah, pretty decent stuff overall. So right now for this Bulls team, okay. Oh yeah, last thing, and then we'll talk about moving forward with this Bulls team, as we're almost at an hour. DeMar DeRozan, okay? So this to me looked like the first time in a long time, and maybe even the first time this season. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like DeMar DeRozan so far this season until today, he just did not look right. And I don't know if it was like him dealing with something. Like I don't remember which game it was, but like he rolled his ankle, right, in one of the games earlier, and nothing came from it. Like, he didn't go on the injury report or anything. But this, like, he just straight up, he just didn't look correct. We saw him at moments. It just seemed like his lift overall was just not where it usually is. And I'm not even saying in terms of like his layup attempts, like it was just also on his jump shots, right? It just seemed like he was flat. And a lot of shots were just coming up short for him. And I was just like, this doesn't look like the usual DeMar DeRozan. And the biggest thing that was like kind of a concern for this Bulls team was, how is this, if he's not going to ever look the same, right? This Bulls team, in terms of like closing out games, is going to have a serious issue. Because one of the things that we were looking at was, where is DeMar actually on this list? So like, again, this doesn't include this game, so this might have changed. But in terms of isolation, points per game, okay, like here's DeRozan, okay, and so he hasn't even had a lot of isolation attempts per game. Like, the frequency is much lower for DeMar, but when he did ISO, I mean, we're seeing 0.78. Like, that's awful. I mean, we're talking about one of the best isolation players in the game throughout the last like couple of years, right? And suddenly, so far to start the season, he's having a pretty dreadful start to the year. Zach is better. It's not great though, right? And I expect that these two guys, in terms of the isolation numbers, are going to get better over time. But with DeRozan, it was like an astounding, terrible number. I mean, he was shooting 30% on isolation attempts, right? So, obviously, this is going to change after this game. After this game, probably because the stats are not in for this after tonight's game. But if he wasn't going to look right on this, then I'm like, how the heck did the Bulls close out games? Because we've talked about how Zach, in terms of his clutch time, has not looked the best either. So a lot of it relies on DeRozan, and if he wasn't going to look right, then things are in big trouble. But in this game, he looked like himself again. Like, and the biggest thing was, it wasn't just like him hitting mid-range shots. Like, I mean, we can look at his overall chart in terms of his mid-range shots. Like, he obviously took some, but like the biggest thing was that he was more willing to get into the paint, and he was finishing, right? And his lift overall on both his jump shot and his mid-range shot just looked better, and he was finishing through contact. So I tweeted out, I think in like the last game, or no, I think it was no, actually no one tweeted out, but I tweeted out like I just thought DeRozan didn't look right in one of the previous games, and now this seemed like the first time DeRozan looked like himself. So I hope he continues to look pretty good. Obviously 3 days of rest helps, because this team was playing a lot of games early on, and so you got those 3 days of rest, but now you got to go play back-to-back tomorrow, right? So we'll see how he looks tomorrow to see if he is like fully back, or it's just, extra days rest helped him. But I was gonna say though that he and Vooch kind of looked old for a little bit of time, especially Vooch's start to the season. Vooch in his first 3 games looked awful in his to start the year, so that was like really concerning, because it's like DeRozan looks kind of old and Vooch is starting to kind of look old, and then Zach obviously didn't get off to the greatest start, so your 3-man guys are not looking too great. Now Zach is still struggling for the 3-point line still, so that needs to get itself fixed. So I don't know what it's going to take from Zach, but DeRozan's numbers were very concerning, because that was not what I was used to from DeMar DeRozan whatsoever. So Zach, the stats are in for this game actually for Zach. So Zach, let's see. So he's making 1 less field goal per game than usual. For he's averaging a little bit less than his normal shot attempts per game. But we're not used to this from Zach. Like, we're used to this being much higher, like in these areas, right? And the 3-point percentage, like his attempts are basically the same, but he's just not hitting the same amount. So with Zach, he obviously needs to start hitting more threes. That will help him obviously. But I also thought that maybe like his back or whatever to start the year was just messing with him. So the big 3 tonight, DeRozan looked really good, Vooch looked really solid, right? And Zach, was okay. So this was, a decent start for what they need to be doing. So moving forward, then these 3 guys need to start figuring it out and making sure that they continue doing what we saw tonight, which was get to the paint a lot, get to the free throw line a lot. Because even Vooch got to the free throw line today, which he doesn't typically do, and he shot 7 threes, the most out of anyone tonight, which is I really wanted him to start doing that. And it was just an overall better shot chart from Vooch tonight than what we've seen throughout the year. This is better. Like, I want the 3-point shots. I like the paint attempts. Get rid of these, honestly, the mid-range shots. But I'll let this one slide because the shot clock was winding down. But just better basketball overall, hopefully, to come for this Bull squad, because we were not seeing some good basketball from specifically the big 3, or the mid 3 as people like to call them. So hopefully it fixes itself moving forward. But all right, because of my internet, I am gonna have to cut the stream short. My copium is that new shooting coach means the players need to get out of their comfort, so his threes are coming back when he is adjusted. Maybe, yeah. I'm hoping that Vooch obviously continues to shoot more threes like he did tonight, right? And then with Zach, I mean, Zach's still taking his normal amount of attempts, so it's not like he's like forcing up more threes and he just isn't comfortable. I want him to shoot more than 7.1 per game, though. Like, I would like Zach to, shoot more than that, but obviously he doesn't have a shot going. So if that's not going to happen for him, then him getting to the free throw line, him getting to the paint is what I want then with him. Which I think he's done an okay job at it. He needs to do better still. Big thing tonight for Zach is he had no turnovers, so that's good. But Yeah, I need to see Zach really start hitting these 3-point shots because this team needs him. And if he's not doing that, then he basically do the rest of what he did tonight, right? He got to the free throw line and he got to the paint, right? So we'll just see if he can figure it out moving forward. But like I said earlier, though, because of my internet problems, I am going to end stream tonight. It is a Sunday night, so obviously the work week is coming up. So get your rest. Appreciate y'all being here. I know also it's Sunday Night Football, so I understand if you're not watching me, but if you're watching the VOD, I appreciate you all a lot. If you could hit the like on the stream, helps me out a ton. I know it's a scuff stream, internet issues, but I do appreciate you guys just being here and helping me out. Yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow after the Bulls take on the Milwaukee Bucks, which I do not think the Bulls are going to win, but maybe they can steal one. Maybe they can steal one as the Bucks are still kind of struggling to kind of figure things out. All right, appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Hopefully the Bulls win tomorrow. Peace.